Hi, everybody. This is Eric Eager with BizNet Software. And first of all, just make sure you're the right webinar. We are in a kind of a BizNet educational series, and this is Executive Dashboards. And I want to thank you for taking the time today. And what I'd like to talk to you today about, really, we've got a half hour, and what I want to do today from a presentation perspective is really give you kind of three takeaways from this. One is that I really want you to get an understanding of kind of best practices. Done a lot of homework, researched a number of sites, and we'll give you some ideas on kind of the do's and don'ts for dashboarding, because there's a lot of activity, a lot of things going on today. Other thing too is we're going to start with a very simple. What we want to do is show you how to get started using BizNet and Excel. So we're going to build out just one interactive graph, and I'll show you one of my favorites, which is conditional formatting. And it'll give you an idea just how to get started. And then, at the end of this too, there's a number of Excel dashboarding resources we'd like to share with you. There's some great websites who have got, in one example, has got 32 different dashboard examples that you can download and use. So if you walk away today, if anything, of just what not to do, what to do, get you started on basically just a very simple interactive graph, and then give you a bunch of resources you can go and research on your own. So with that, what I'd like to do today is I'm going to spend about half the presentation on best practices, the other half on actually how to build out a simple dashboard. So really the thing we want to start with, and I borrowed this from a friend of mine when we did a presentation to a group of senior executives, and really it's, everybody drives cars, and we all have different kinds. Some of us drive SUVs, some of us drive sedans, some of us drive trucks, etc. But the one thing you find consistently across all of them are they all have dashboards. Now, the funny thing about them is that every one of the cars will be completely different from interior, exterior, but the one common thing that you see is dashboards, and they always seem to have the same gauges. So if you think about it, they all have speedometers, they all have oil pressure gauges, they all have engine lights, and there's a reason for that. Now, the thing that they have in common, like I said, are these common gauges, and why they're important is because they're indicators of critical information that is real time. There may be a check oil or check engine light, and as my niece used to ignore that light and blew the engine up in her car before she went off to college. So there's reasons why they're on there. And, the key thing here is that, do you need a dashboard to really operate a car? Well, that's one of the things. Let me show a little video just to kind of make a little funny, humorous thing here. So I'm going to play this little video, and it'll give you an idea that you don't need a dashboard to run a car, but it'll give you a good idea why you need to. So let me start this up real quick. I think you guys have seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, great. Cop, watch it! How fast are you going?
I can't tell. The speedometer's melted.
Pull over.
Top of the morning, officer.
Hi.
Is there something I can help you with?
What the hell are you driving here?
We had a small fire last night, but we caught it in the nick of time.
You have any idea how fast you were going?
Funnily enough, I was just talking to my friend about that. Our speedometer's melted, and as a result, it's very hard to say with any degree of accuracy exactly how fast we were going.
78 miles an hour.
78, huh? Well, yeah, I could buy that, sure, I guess. You would know better than us, especially since we got a melted speedometer.
Do you feel this vehicle is safe for highway travel?
Yes, I do. Yes, I really do. I believe that. I know it's not pretty to look at, but it'll get you where you want to go.
Now, you got no outside mirror.
No, we lost that.
You have no functioning gauges.
No, not a one. However, the radio still works. Funny as that may seem, with all this mess, that the radio is the only thing that's really working good, and it's as clear as a bell. Don't ask me how.
Okay, just to kind of put a little bit of humor into that is the fact that, look, you can run you can by all means run an organization without dashboard. But the key thing we have to think about is, what's the purpose of the dashboard? It's to keep you informed while you're operating the vehicle. It's to notify you of any changes. And it's warning in real time what the information you need to create a vehicle, i.e. Your business. So, and this is just a little infographic that I like to add. And in this infographic, what most people don't realize, we are accumulating more information in the history of mankind in the last 2 years. And so take this for what it's worth. I don't know about you, but it seems like we're now in this information age, and we've got more information, but we have less knowledge of the information. So real quickly, just to give you an idea of, how do you get started? Because here, it's probably like anything else. It's like exercising or anything like that, is that we all get started with, hey, I know I need to do this. It's important to run my company, but how do I get started? So the first kind of, common man step to get started is really identify your key performance indicators. And I know some of this seems kind of basic, but, really, what are the key drivers of your business? And then what we found is, irregardless of where the data is that draft up a dashboard. Even if you get a pad and paper out or get an Excel sheet and start to put things up, draft out what you want it to look like. After you do that, then start locating the information, and whether either you have it in the organization or you need to go get it. And the last two steps, really finalize the dashboard, get everybody to buy off on these are the key metrics of the company, and then you roll it out. And then there's a lot of steps to this, but these are the basics for what you need to do from an implementation standpoint. Now, this will take you a lot of time because you're trying to idea, what are the key drivers of the business. But from a #1 challenge that you're going to run into, I can promise you, outside of Excel, there's still about a dozen really nice dashboarding tools. The #1 challenge you're going to have in dashboarding is getting your data organized, and it's got to be reliable and timely. The biggest challenge you have in today's workplace is that I can get you the information and I can rely on it, it's just not very timely. Or in other cases, I can get it to you really fast, but I can't rely on the numbers. And the whole thing I'm just saying today is that it's got to be current. If it's 30 days old, 2 weeks old, I mean, still good information, but if you can't get it real time, you're better off going with a weekly report or a monthly report. It's got to be interactive. And the key thing here, and Franklin Covey uses this example when they teach classes on dashboarding, and they talk about a 3-second rule. If you can't open up a dashboard and within 3 seconds determine the health of a business or your department or whatever you're trying to get a dashboard on, if you can't do it within 3 seconds, you need to go back and try and work hard in cleaning it up and making it simpler. Now, here's the next thing. Here's the things to avoid, and I'll give you examples of this here shortly in a second. One of them is don't make it overly complex. You're going to see a bunch of metrics that look really nice, but for the end user, if it looks too complex, it's not worth it. It's going to be meaningless to them. The other thing too is start putting metrics up there that nobody understands. If there's some net blah 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 score and nobody understands it, what's the point in putting it on there? Here's a big fallacy that people run into is you put too many graphics on there. And again, I'll show you examples of that in a second. But you'll put a lot of unimportant graphics because they look cool, but they don't really do anything. And a lot of companies we've worked with and a lot of customers we work with, they try and wrap up dashboarding with bigger projects, which is fine. But the thing we're trying to say is, you can get started today dashboarding. And, you can get started using the tool that's sitting on your desktop today, which is Excel. The next couple of ones, don't underestimate. Give it lots of, it's going to take you a while to get started, but once don't underestimate the time it's going to take to get the dashboard. Because, it's one of those things that's going to look very once you get done, it's going to look very simple, but people don't realize how much time it takes to make it look so simple. There's also putting metrics on there that aren't tied to your objectives. And the other thing too is that again, what I want to stress is that don't get blinded by the lights, is something we like to say. Where there's a bunch of graphs and charts on there and they look real pretty. And I know you, but I've gone into this as a CFO, is that you run into this and they all look pretty, but when you sit down and look at it, it doesn't make any sense. Because you go, that's pretty, but I'm still, what's this mean to me for running the business? Now, let me do this. I'm going to show you some examples of dashboards, and we're going to build one out here real quick. So let me do this, and I'm going to show you some examples. So here's an example of one dashboard where it's got a monthly report, and this came from Charlie Kidd. And you can go to exceluser.com and get an example of one of his dashboards here where you've got monthly metrics. He's got these little camera shots. He's got a little P&L. So he's got a lot of information. This is kind of what's called a Wall Street, Wall Street Journal dashboard. Now, we've also got some fun ones on here. Here's an example of one that is a baseball statistics. A little hard to see on the screen, but this one's kind of neat because you can change the years and see all the graphics change accordingly. And you can see by team and some other things. So I'm giving you examples of some nice dashboards, but like here's an example of one that it's sales, and they did it for, I think this is a Star Wars theme, where you can see each of the salespeople and example of trended dashboard. And these are over here is what they call spark lines. Now, we're not going to go over that today, but we'll definitely make sure to cover that in a following session. But you've got spark lines, you've got slicers, a lot of topics that Excel has put into, Microsoft put into Excel for dashboarding techniques to make it even more powerful, more easy to use. So, all that being said, let me walk into an example here that we've integrated with Biznet. Okay, this is a very simple one, but it kind of gets to the point in the fact that I've got a company, I've got a year, I've got sales, I've got net income, I've got my top customers, I've got top parts. And what you can do is that make this interactive. That's the key they were telling you a little while ago, is that you have to be able to interact with the data. And so an end user can see this and begin to visually see information. Now, as I just showed you a second ago, there's a lot of dashboarding tools, and at the end of this presentation, I'll give you links to a lot of good sites to go and download examples of dashboards. But what I'm going to do is get over here, and I'm going to show you some examples of one that we're going to build right here. Now, this one's got a company, a year. I've just got a sample forecast. I've got sales, and we made it where it's interactive. So I can look at 2011, and I'm going to show you how to do this conditional formatting, and we're going to build out this graph real quick and show you how to make this real interactive. So what I'm going to do is that, just in the interest of time, I'm going to copy this over to a new sheet. And step one of any one of these solutions is that you need to have a little navigation bar here at the top. So you make it very easy for the end users to be able to just change one thing and see the dashboard items change accordingly. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to put my company code. I'm going to just copy this again in the interest of saving time. And so what we've done here is that for this P&L, I'm going to copy and paste it here. You can see right here I've got an account range of $4,000 to $4,499. Okay? So what we're going to do, for those who have Biznet, I'm going to go over here and then put a period 8 through 12. And very quickly, we're going to make this interactive. So I'm just going to paste this on here real quick. And again, this is meant to be very basic, but I think you'll get the idea of how you can make this right now with the tool set sitting on your desktop today. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go grab a month-to-date net function, which I'm sure everybody knows how to do. I'm going to drop it in here, and then I'm going to fill this out real quick. So I'm going to put my company code. In this particular sample, we have a book ID. I've got a fiscal year, and I'm just using plain old Excel anchoring on this. And so got my fiscal period, and now I'm going to come down here and just go to my first segment. In my first segment, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to anchor that one down as well. Okay, so now you can see that I've got numbers in here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to type in a forecast in here just so that we've got some numbers. Then all I've got to do to insert now an interactive graph is to come over and go insert, and I'm just going to do a plain old boring bar chart here. And just get a little real estate here, insert some more columns in here, and I will shrink this down a little bit. And now I've got an interactive chart. Interactive chart, since I anchored it up here, now I can sit here and I can compare it and change accordingly. The other thing, too, is that if I have a question, you can see right here we've got drill down capabilities, and we drill into the pivot table. And it's going to go out and get that information for me in this drill down and present it back. So if you guys are not familiar with the concept of conditional formatting, I find them very powerful. And the way that you can do that is you highlight the range that you want, and you come up here to this little conditional formatting section. Now, the reason I like conditional formatting is that it allows you to say, hey, if I've got, let's say, numbers greater than, I can give it a particular code or I can color key it, so it draws attention to the end user. So I'm just going to say, hey, anything green, and I want anything, and I can say the number is, 150,000. So now as I change this, it's now interactive. I'm changing my numbers. I can change this and see that the numbers change accordingly, nothing above 150 here. You can see that I got sample data working with here. And you can see that now I got color keyed that I may want to investigate, right-click, drill down, and get into that more specifically. Now, the intentions today, like I said, was to give you a taste of what you can do out of the box. Now, here's the thing about this is that this is one simple example. Now, when you come up here, you can start to see that there's a number of things you can do from data analysis where you can go and start using, let's see, so we've got Sparkline is slicers. There's a number of things you can do. So right of the things that are called spark lines. And these are very nice for giving snapshots into trended reports that you want to get in a very small area. And we don't have time to go over that specifically today, but it should give you an idea of how some of these other reports are being built. Now, what I'd like to do is that let me go back here and I'll show you some examples and give you some links to some websites that we have here. And let me get this down. We go back to PowerPoint. And what I'm going to do, since to keep this on time, I'm going to PowerPoint here, and I'm going to, let me go back to that. There we go. And so what I'd like to do is I'm going to open it up to a few questions. Just for you guys, while I'm on the question section, we'll send these out later, but these are all exceptional sites for to go to, chandu.org. There's links right there where they've got 32 examples of sales dashboards. And actually, since we've got a little bit of extra time, let me come over here and I will show you some of those examples. So, an example, this is Chandu site, and you can go to their website. We've given you the link, 32 dashboard examples, and you can go right here where you can go all the way down, and you can see right here that you can download all these examples. So it gives you at least a starting point to use, and these are absolutely free. So with that, we've got about 5 minutes left. What I'd like to do is that if we've got some questions here, let me get over here and see if there's any questions I can help answer. If you guys can type it in the chat section. Because what we're trying to do here at BizNet is just, if anything, give you information that you can use in kind of small snippets. And so what we'd also like to do is, if you can, if there's subjects or areas where you'd like to have more conversations, or if you'd like to get more detailed discussions, what we'd like to do is please let us know. Okay, so for, here's a good example of the dashboards you can do. Other sites that I'd like to show you while I got them up. There's a book here that we found to be very helpful. It's by Michael Alexander. It's got lots of reviews that are very, very useful and very practical tips and tricks. And again, you can get that on Amazon. It's about $28. And again, we'd be happy to send you the links to this presentation, and that way you guys can have this for future reference. And let me see if there's a couple more sites that I found to be very helpful. Actually, it's kind of a funny name, DataPig Technologies. They've got a nice dashboard add-in tool. It's about $15, and you can get these infographic tools that you can add to your dashboard. And you can just datapigtechnologies.com. And each one of these sites that we're recommending to you, they also have training sessions. And you can take these online, and they've got recorded sessions so that, again, with the idea of helping you get a better understanding of tips and techniques so you can kind of get started. So, all right. Well, I think we're getting to the end of our session here. So, tell you what, let me see if there's one more question. Okay. All right. Well, tell you what, all right. Well, we're going to wrap it up today. We're keeping everybody right on time, so keep it right at the half hour. And want to thank everybody for taking the time. And if you can, please let us know of other topics or other webinars you'd prefer to do. We've got a bunch of Excel geeks around here, so we spend a lot of time really diving into the functionality of Excel, getting understanding of Excel, and we'd love to continue to share that information with you. I just want to remind you, remember, it is 3 days of nothing but Excel training, and we've had just phenomenal success on this. So this is the third year we've done this. It's going to be in Dallas, September 21st through the 24th. Website, we've got everything from dashboarding, forecasting models, business intelligence. It's 3 days of all Excel training, and we'd love for you to attend. And for those who need CPE credit, you can get our CPE credit. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to wrap it up real quick and say thank you for your time today. Sure appreciate it, and be looking out for the next webinar that we're having next month. And we're varying. Keep an eye on the website, be looking at your emails, and we'll let you know when the next one's going to be. Thanks for your time today, guys, and take care.